Hey, real estate rock stars, welcome to the whole enchilada of real estate investing, the only podcast that serves up the full feast of street smart strategies to build wealth and take control of your financial future. I'm Lou Brown, and I've been in the real estate game since 1976, so I've learned how to make the whole plate worth it. Each week, I'll be dishing out creative financing hacks and proven systems that help investors build multi-million-dollar businesses. No fluff, just the good stuff, straight from the source. Ready to dig in and start making deals? Let's get to it. Welcome to the whole enchilada of real estate investing podcast with Lou Brown, and I'm so pleased today that we have Deborah Edwards from the beautiful Nashville, Tennessee area. Deborah, how are you?
I'm great, Lou, and it's great to have this opportunity to shed some light on the housing market.
Amen. It's a beautiful thing. I've been buying, selling, and holding real estate now for over 40 years and have loved the industry, love the people, love the business. And so we are certified affordable housing providers. And what we do is help deserving families end up with home ownership, regardless of credit or financial background.
Oh,
So
wow.
we love to work with real estate agents because we find that real estate agents, of course, often are the ones that our people come to first. And they're saying, okay, I want to buy a house. And
Mhm.
real estate agents go, well, let's slow that car down for just a second. Let's take a look at your credit. Let's take a look at your down payment. And
Mhm.
then often agents say, you know what? You're just not ready right now. And
Right.
have you ever had any of those?
Oh, quite a few, I hate to say. That's true.
Well, I've got good news for you. Those
Mhm.
are exactly the folks that we serve.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't compete with real estate agents. We take your leftovers and we pay up to a full commission. So we're able to serve your folks that wanted to work with you, can't work with you, but maybe could work with you if you look into more about what we do.
Mhm.
Definitely, we're here to talk about you today. So tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business.
Okay, great. Let's see. I have been a licensed agent since 1987.
Yeah.
So I'm seasoned in the world of real estate. And initially I started out mostly helping first-time home buyers purchase their first home. So closely related to your passion of affordable homes, because that used to be my primary market that I worked with when I initially got started. Since then, things have broadened out and branched out, and as a matter of fact, my son has joined and worked with me as on my team. Hopefully, I can pass some knowledge off, and I can sit down one day, but but not yet. I'm still going full force. So I do a combination of first time investment, commercial deals also. So I do work with raw land, and my primary business portion is still residential, but I do it all, and I cover all the areas here in middle in this Nashville area.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, you're not just single focused, are you? You've got a
Yeah.
lot of different options and opportunities, which is varied. You know, this is one of the things about real estate is there's so many different things you can do, and they do tend to present themselves one time or another while you're in the business, and being able to navigate all of those opportunities is great.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that we've found as real estate investors ourselves.
Mhm.
We actually purchase the home for our buyers, and then they move into the home, and then we work with them while they're living there. We help them build up their credit, build up
Mhm.
their down payment until they can eventually end up with home ownership,
Mhm.
and or we can be the bank for them forever. So
Mhm.
we do offer that option as well. So that's one of the things that sometimes along the way, unique things come along, and we're able to navigate those too.
Oh, great. And I've worked with a situation like that. It's been a couple years where it was a couple purchasing a home, but they weren't quite ready. Can't remember the name of the company, but they did exactly what you're saying. They purchased a home and had like maybe a 12-month path for them to be able to purchase the home later on. But they did it for them. They showed them the home. They liked the home. They bought it. And the plan was get them financial readiness to purchase for themselves.
I
So I
love
did
that.
I did work with someone that did that before.
Excellent, excellent. And ours is differs in that we give up to 3 years to buy.
Okay.
Because as you know, often people can't get it done quite in a year, but they
Right.
can get it done. I've found within 3 years. Usually 2 years is about
Mhm.
the 18 months to 2 years.
Mhm.
Sometimes people come to us and they don't want to get in a bidding war, so they'll go ahead and join our program
Mhm.
because they know what the price point is, everything, and then they'll apply for their loan. And
Mhm.
sometimes they can get their loan very quickly. So we work with real estate agents, and when you have someone in that situation, we pay up to a full commission. So you
Mhm.
definitely can win even when you have a client that you might think is a loser just because of just because of their inability to qualify for traditional loans right now. Uh,
Mhm.
that that means that they can work with us. So
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
good thing you can add to your repertoire. We do have certified affordable housing providers there in the Nashville, Tennessee area.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing it right there.
Oh, okay.
It's great. So do you invest in real estate yourself?
I have, as a matter of fact, I've done some flipping, where I've purchased some homes that I flip. And as a matter of fact, my sons have taken advantage of that, and then two of the homes they bought, each
Oh,
son.
good.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I
yeah,
bet Mama gave a good deal too, didn't Mama?
yeah. They still owe me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good luck getting that money. I'm
I
just,
know. I know.
you know how it is with kids. You got
All
to do
right.
the best you can.
Right. Do the best you can with them.
That's so cool. Well,
Mhm.
definitely, then you have an insight into what real estate investors are looking for.
Mhm.
We are often working with our clients that come to us. We turn on the marketing machine, and we're marketing from a different angle than you are. Of course, you're
Mhm.
looking for people that have good enough credit and good enough down payment, and
Mhm.
the ability to get bank financing right away.
Mhm.
And we're looking for exactly the opposite, people that don't have that right now. And
Mhm.
so they come into our world. Now, sometimes people come into our world that do have good enough credit, good enough down payment, but usually it's not. Usually they have less than that. And so we work with them. And one of the things we do is we allow them to do some or all of the repairs to the home in
Mhm.
exchange for credit towards their down payment. So
Mhm.
if they don't have yet enough cash, well, we can offer them an opportunity to increase it. And we don't require it. We just give them an opportunity to do that if they want to do that.
Okay, similar to sweat equity. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
exactly, 100%. And
Mhm.
usually somebody comes and looks at a house, as you well know, the wall colors are not what they're looking for, the flooring is
Mhm.
not what they're looking for, so they're going to come in and do stuff anyway. So we'll
Mhm.
just give them credit for that.
Right, right, right. Okay.
So it's a beautiful additional opportunity that we have that people don't have to have all of the down payment money. And
Mhm.
there's so many different programs out there. You've worked with some people that are first time home buyers. What are you seeing these days?
Well, it's a tough market here, primarily because of the pricing have, when I started in the 80s, it wasn't uncommon for you to purchase a home at 50, 60, 80, 90,000. Well, those days it doesn't exist. First time home buyer now, you have to be prepared, start off around, 325, 350 range. And that's the same house that you would have spent 50, 60, or 80, years ago. So it isn't a large home, even though you're paying 325, it's probably about 1,200 square feet, if it's that. So
There
hopefully you
you go.
got 3 bedrooms and 2 bath, but it's a tough market, starting off with the way things have increased in price. And a large portion of that has been due to simply supply and demand. When people started moving here, relocating here to this market in Nashville, Tennessee, It drove prices up, point blank. It just drove the prices up because there wasn't enough houses to satisfy the demand. So,
Yeah, it's like the world found Nashville, didn't it? And started moving there.
right, they did. California, I mean, from all over, Chicago. They coming from, and they're still moving here. So,
We did an event there, and had just wonderful experience
mhm,
downtown. The whole
mhm.
thing. We rented that hotel that has the bank vault in it, and
Oh yeah.
right downtown there. It was a lot
Uh-huh.
of fun. But definitely, it's a challenging market, like you say. Now, somebody just getting started and wanting to buy a home right now, what would your
Mhm.
advice be?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, budget. What is your budget? That's the first thing I go to. What do you feel like you can afford? So that's going to determine their what they can afford to pay a month is going to determine their budget. So we first come up with a budget. The next step is to find out the credit. What's your credit scores? Because if you somewhere around about a low end, 600 to mid 650, chances are going to be good that you're going to have to deal with a higher interest rate and maybe go to maybe like a FHA type program, where it's less amount of money that they'll have to put down. So about 3.5% for that type of program. But if they've got 700 and plus scores, then there are some programs out there where there's no down payment. Of course, with no down payment, that means your mortgage payment might tend to run up closer to that 3,000 mark, and most people aren't comfortable with that type of payment. So in order to get your payment, around that 2,000 or lower, it's better to have some down payment because you're looking at what you can afford with other expenses that you might have. So we start with budget, and then you have to paint a realistic picture. Okay, you might want that all brick home, half an acre lot, two-car garage, all brick, great neighborhood, great schools, but that might be your third house, not your first house.
That's so true in this market. Definitely setting expectations is an important piece of the puzzle, and somebody looking to buy, sometimes I look at people's budget because that's exactly what we do before we work with someone is we look at their total household income and we determine, hey, based on what you earn, the maximum you can afford is like $250,000. And so
Mhm,
given your situation, are
mhm,
you open to a mobile home? Are
mhm,
you open to a condominium?
mhm,
Because without that, there's just no way that we can really do anything for them,
mhm,
right?
mhm. Right.
So it's a challenge for folks, but I always encourage them because if you go ahead and make the commitment now to get into
Mhm,
a home, it's
mhm,
always going to benefit you later.
mhm, mhm,
It, the inflation is always going to run up the prices, and
mhm,
you know the inflation itself also with a long-term mortgage is a
mhm,
wonderful thing because
mhm,
you're paying it off with worth less dollars.
mhm,
So you now have the benefit of actually having that fixed rate mortgage and
mhm.
being able to pay it off over a long period of time.
Right, right. That's just so true. I try to encourage people to basically I use a sports scenario with playing, let's say playing basketball. You want to get in the game. So in order to get in the game, you got to purchase whatever you can afford. So once you're in the game and you stay there a year or two, then now you can sell it and take that equity. It could be anywhere from, possibly 20,000, 30,000. So now they've got money this time to make a larger down payment and to get more home. But if you continue to wait and just rent, sometimes that works against you because you're not able to save that money because you're not able to make the same amount of money that you do when you own a home. So I always tell people this is the only investment that you can live in and use it and at the same time make money off of it. There's not another investment out there like that where you can actually use it and you can still receive benefits off of it.
That's
So
kind of like have your cake and eat it
eat
too.
it too. That's right. That's exactly right.
That's beautiful. That is great advice too. People are getting into it. They're getting into the game. They're causing behavior in their lives, and they're moving on. They're
Right,
creating something that they can pass down to the next generation. They're building up equity and
right,
using that equity if they choose to have a different house. I
right.
advise people to keep it too.
Mhm.
If you can
Yeah.
buy the next replacement house, keep this one and make
Hmm.
income off of it forever and get the
Hmm.
benefit of inflation because it is going to go up in value as well.
That is so true. And that was a conversation I had with my youngest son. He is in a prime location where it was advantageous for him to keep that home and use it for Airbnb and maybe get some money off of it. That's when the rates were really low. So do a HELOC and then you could either fix up this home that you're going to or down payment, but you hold on to your existing home and you're making money off of it. It's paying for itself plus income.
And
So
did he take mama's advice?
he did.
Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
And,
did.
and quite brilliant. That's one of the things that when people can get themselves established into something that becomes an investment, then it's a forever thing.
Right, right, right.
Do you work with a lot of investors?
I work with some. I've worked with some investors because there's tons of investors, locally, and then even some that's not here, but they still purchase homes. So I have worked with investors, and depending on the area and what the house needs. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we always look at when we're bringing someone into a home. The first
Hmm.
thing we're doing is determining how much they can afford. So if
Hmm.
all they can afford is 250, 350, whatever the number is, we tell them that's what we're going to sell to you at. Now we
Hmm.
have to be able to purchase the home for less than that.
Right.
So I make them team members.
Hmm.
So, of course, working with you, we can look on the internet, we can look at the MLS, but
Hmm.
I send them out into the field and I say, go see what you can find. Go
Hmm.
find vacant, dilapidated, tall grass,
Hmm.
tarps on the roof, gutters
Hmm.
falling off,
Hmm.
whatever it might be, or
Hmm.
talk to friends and family and ask them, do they know of someone that has a house for sale? Do they know of someone moving into assisted living and might have a house?
Hmm.
And so, getting that message out there and them stirring the pot, they
Hmm.
often bring something to us that we can actually purchase and they can move into it.
What areas do you work in terms of finding houses? Is it a certain area that you work?
Just all 50 states, that's all.
Okay. Okay.
So, in other words, we're not shy about metro or rural, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, as price points go, if people are willing to travel a little bit, if they're willing to go outside the metro area,
Mm-hmm.
30, 45 minutes, an hour, definitely the price points change dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another distinction of asking people, what are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? Because it can drop the price 100 grand.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the same situation here in Nashville. If you go out, maybe 40 miles or 50 miles, because there's some people even go out a little bit farther in order to still be in this area, and they can find something more affordable, with possibly 100,000, less than being closer to the city itself.
It's a
So,
beautiful thing, and you find that people get there and they really like it.
hmm.
And especially if you've got a flexible work schedule, they'll let you work one or more days from home, and
Hmm.
it's not quite as much stress as that struggle to get back and forth
Hmm.
in a commute. Who wants a commute?
No, it's like work itself.
Well, that's true. That's a good way to put it.
Hmm.
Definitely, it's an exciting time. Now, what do you see for the future in real estate and for yourself?
Well, for the future, I see hopefully the market is will stabilize. We can't, sustain prices like this. I don't think the job incomes will be able to sustain this type of pricing. So I'm hoping that we see more stability in the pricing of the market of homes and even being more creative so that we can find more affordable homes in terms of construction of homes. Townhomes are a good option, where you might not have a yard or even a zero lot line where you could have possibly some yard, but it's still a way that you can purchase. And it's, kind of common now that a lot of people are starting out with that type of home versus back, years ago where you could find something single family home that was affordable. But the option things have changed. So you have to be able to change, to change your plans with time. So,
Well, that's a good way to put it. We are certified affordable housing providers, and sometimes people think we're talking about bad houses in bad neighborhoods, and we're
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's affordable housing is what the person can afford.
right.
And that's why we always start with the person and we find out how much total household income they have. And then we can determine what they can afford. And
Mhm.
then we tell them, okay, the price point that we're going to be selling to you at is say 300,000,
Mhm.
and given the amount of down payment you have, you can
Mhm.
qualify for our rent to own. If they have
Mhm.
at least 10% down, they can qualify for our in-house financing.
Mhm.
And so the in-house financing gives them some runway to be able to build up a credit history
Mhm.
and a payment history, and then they can refinance that anytime they want to.
Okay, into a regular, more conforming type of program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Yeah, affordable homes, housing sometimes come with a negative connotation when you start using that word around in the neighborhoods where you're probably purchasing something. I know here it does. So a lot of people prefer to hear working class homes because they often take a more of a negative.
Workforce, right? Workforce
Workforce. There you
housing.
go. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Workforce homes. Right, right.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's a that's a interesting thing because the perceptions are reality, and you have to have clarity, and that's why I say affordable housing is what the person can afford and has
Forward.
nothing to
Right,
do with the
right.
price of the
Exactly.
home. We've done 600, 700, and $1 million affordable homes as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's a funny thing marketing because all kinds of folks come to you
Mm,
and you look at their situation.
mm,
Sometimes you find business owners, they have plenty of down payment money, they have plenty of income, but the bank doesn't love them. They don't
mm,
have, a long enough history, or
mm,
they had some kind of
mm,
problem from the past and the bank says, no, we don't want to work with you. And then
mm,
we come along and we can work with them.
mm,
And, one of my clients there in Nashville, in fact, is a great example. They got
mm,
$200,000 down
mm,
from someone right there, but they couldn't qualify for a traditional loan. They,
mm,
they could afford a
mm,
payment on 250,000, so they ended up getting a $450,000 home because they had 200,000 down and they could afford the payment on 250,000.
Wow. Yeah, when you're a business owner, I know banks often look at 2 years, 2-year tax returns, what their net was in 2 years. And so oftentimes if you just started out, you might not have, or it could have been a whole totally different feel, and they want to average the 2 years out. So that is a handicap that a lot of people face when they're, business owners. So that's great to hear that you've got this option through your company.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, and that's one of the reasons we like to reach out and connect with real estate agents because you constantly have lead flow of
Mhm.
folks that you can't serve.
Right.
And you'd love to if you could, but you
Mhm.
can't.
Right.
And now we do have a number of real estate agents that become certified affordable housing providers. They actually add us to what they do. And then they're able to now expand out their marketing and attract more folks because they're able to take it to the next level of investing as well as helping folks.
Mm.
So it rather than just referring it on to another certified affordable housing provider, you can actually be that person and purchase the property. And I love to talk to real estate agents. I say, that closing statement, and it shows where you are on the closing statement. What about that number down there at the bottom? What the seller gets? That
Yeah.
usually looks better, doesn't
Right.
it?
That looks a whole lot better.
Looks
Yeah.
a whole lot better.
That's what I tell people all the time. It's not the realtor with the big check. It's the homeowner with the big check.
That's
Not the real
right.
estate agent.
It's a beautiful thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, I've transitioned a lot of real estate agents, actually not really transition, but just allow them to expand what they're already doing, add it to what they're already doing. So
Mhm.
they're able to set themselves apart also from other real estate agents. Hey, are other people turning you down? We can help, you know.
Mhm.
There's many things that we can do that others can't do because of the flexibility of being the investor. And, you know, I say that banks live inside of boxes. And
Mhm.
if you can't get inside the box with the bank, then
You're
that
out in
you're out,
cold.
right? You're out in the cold.
Yeah.
And so that's where we hang out is outside the box. And
Mhm.
it's a great thing from a real estate investor perspective because you got really ready, willing, and able customers with down payment money, and a lot more likely that they're going to pay and take care of the property. So we set ourselves apart from uh, landlords. You know,
Mhm.
landlords, they're working with folks that want to rent.
Mhm.
We're working with folks that want to buy. You know, they've got a
Mhm.
different mindset.
Right, right.
So from an investing standpoint, you end up with a lot better client, you know.
Mm. So when you work with people that's looking for a home, and of course, first time I know you check their budget, but if somebody here in Nashville wanted to utilize your services, how would they do that? How would they begin? And how do you find the homes since you're not actually here? What
Yep.
explain that to me.
So if someone came to me and like you, for example, if you said, I've got someone, I could
Mhm.
work with them, but
Mhm.
generally I'm going to connect you with someone there locally or
Mhm.
help you to become one of those. And
Mhm.
then you actually work with that client and then you end up keeping the asset and earning the money off the asset. So we don't take any part of your deal.
Mhm.
It's totally yours. We just teach you what to do and how to do it and provide all the tools, the training, the technology, and the team to do it. And
Mhm.
you're able to have the reap the rewards, the benefits of it yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Works out fantastic. And
Mhm.
so either uh, real estate agents that we work with, if they don't become a certified affordable housing provider, then we pass the lead along to somebody locally there that is a certified affordable housing provider. We got several of them
Yeah.
in your area, but
Mhm.
it's like real estate agents. There's room for plenty, plenty, plenty of them,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's so much opportunity when you can help folks that can't qualify for a traditional loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
actually becoming the bank for them too. You know, the banks do pretty well. They got the tall buildings and the drive-through windows and the staff
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So, you know, becoming a bank is pretty profitable.
Okay. Okay. That sounds very interesting. So basically, you as an individual purchased a home.
That's correct. So we
Okay.
purchase it. We use trusts. So we teach you how to own your property in trust so
Mm-hmm.
that you can protect it for
Mm-hmm.
yourself and for your client. Protect it from lawsuits, protect it from death, such as probate, because trusts avoid probate. But we teach you about that, and
Mm-hmm.
we teach you how to set up even your own current assets, how to move those into trust, provide all the paperwork to you, everything that you need, and then. In fact, right there in Nashville, we've got people dialed in. I just closed a loan for one of my certified affordable housing providers last week in
Mm-hmm.
Nashville. We also provide funding for deals, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the title company that made me think of the title company we worked with right there in Nashville. Understands trusts, understands buying properties subject to the existing loan. As
Mm-hmm.
you know, sometimes people are selling a home, they've already got existing financing. As an investor, you could just take over the payments and you wouldn't have the huge expense in a new loan. As you know, they're quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just take over existing financing, you can
Mm-hmm.
now take over those payments and
Mm-hmm.
now you're able to start making money right away.
Yeah, I've seen some offers come through like that this year,
Mhm.
where a lump sum down payment and basically they take over the mortgage payment. I think it's on a what I've seen is like a 10 year, I think 10, 15 year. term uh, with
It
those
can be,
people.
or it can be for the life of the loan, just the
Mm,
balance of the loan, whenever that is. So
mm,
it's whatever really works for the seller and what they're trying to accomplish in their life. We can
mm,
show sellers how they can go get another loan, uh,
mm,
and have that not counted
mm,
towards their debt to income ratio.
mm,
So there's ways that a seller can benefit on it greatly, but usually the way the seller benefits is that we can pay them more for their property than
mm,
we could pay if it were a cash deal.
mm. Yeah, I've seen those offers come through, and I was curious about them.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing as
Mm,
an investor, of course, because now you're able to do a lot more transactions by taking over existing financing instead of qualify, qualify, qualify. And
mm,
as you know, there's a stopping point there where the bank says, we don't think we want to loan you any more money.
right.
Uh, it's
Hmm.
like, well, we've got all these sellers lined up that want to do business with us. What do we do? Well,
Hmm.
we just work with the sellers. One of my favorite saying is the seller is the bank, and
Hmm.
they might have existing financing that we can take over,
Hmm.
or if they have equity, the willingness to carry back financing. And maybe they'll wait for their money until our buyer buys the home. Maybe they want monthly payments. So it's whatever works for the seller, and
Hmm.
we just explore what the solutions are for the seller, and then we give them what can work for them.
Mm, okay. Okay.
It's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, it
uh,
sounds like a great option.
it is. It is. We've been helping sellers, buyers, and one of the things that sellers love about our program is simply the fact that their home is going to be used to help a deserving family end up with home ownership. So
Hmm.
it's not just a financial transaction.
Hmm.
It's more than that. They raise their kids there. Now somebody else is going to come in and raise their kids there, and there's just that social benefit of people having a good feeling about what they're doing and really kind of helping that
Helping,
process occur.
right, helping someone else.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And that's one of the things I love about working with real estate agents because all the time they're helping people, right? They're helping sellers solve their problems, they're helping buyers solve their problems, and they get paid in between.
Hmm.
Do you work with a traditional real estate agency or are you on your own?
I work with a company. Uh, at one point when I was just extremely busy, and I'm still got a steady pace, but extremely busy, it was just easier for them to keep up with all the documentation, the paperwork, answer the phone calls on appointments, and that, it just was an easier process for me.
Freed you up to be able to do what you do best, huh?
Right, right, right. I'm not a control freak, so and
That's
sometimes more money is just simply point put more work.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. It's not for free, is it?
No, mm-mm,
You
no,
got to have put the effort out there.
right.
Well, Deborah, what other advice or what other things would you like to share with our wonderful folks on here?
Well, what I would first say is home ownership is still the best investment that any family can invest in. There's studies out there to show even with kids, when you have kids, it increased their confidence, it increased their grades, the GPA. They're just more able to focus in school, knowing that they've got a set home and not worried about, changing the lease and renting and moving. So it just creates a good, great family foundation to own a home. And plus to mention the investment piece. And don't forget, it's a great tax deduction. It's still a great, you can't deduct renting, but you can home ownership. So by all means, home ownership is the way to go.
Is the way to go. I can add to what you shared.
Mhm.
That's a Harvard study that you're talking about. And one of the comments in there is those children go on to higher education more
Mhm.
often. They
Mhm.
go on to more stable relationships. So
Mhm.
instead of all the upsets and breakdowns and, uncertainty of
Mhm.
non ownership, there's just a lot more stability that comes with home
Mhm.
ownership. So
That's correct.
That's one of the reasons we love to do what we do,
Mhm,
because there's a lot of people that are X'd out of
mhm,
the market. They're just not given that opportunity. And
mhm,
we're able to say, well, let's take another look. And maybe
mhm,
now is the time for you if we can do things a little bit differently than
mhm,
what they're traditionally done. So
mhm,
I always love sharing and exchanging ideas with folks like yourself. And
mhm.
that's one of the reasons also that a lot of real estate agents have become certified affordable housing providers, because they can now help a lot more of the marketplace as well.
Right. They can help more people. I like
Exactly.
that.
It's a beautiful thing. So,
Right.
Deborah, how do people reach you?
Well, I've been doing this so long. I'm very fortunate that I don't market. It's all word of mouth, all
Yeah.
referral.
Yeah.
And I'm just at that point where, they call me instead of me cold calling or sending anything out. So, yeah, I'm blessed.
No doubt about it. That's a super thing. And getting that message to the market, helping others, that's what brings others. Funny story. In
Hmm.
our world, we helped a lady, and
Hmm.
she's got 12 children,
Ooh.
and they're grown,
Hmm.
most of them, not all of them, and
Hmm.
all of them are named P. Their name begins with P.
Hmm.
Portia, Porsche, Penelope. So there's a lot of different P's in her world.
Uh-huh.
Three of her daughters have gotten a home from us as well. So she got her
Wow.
home, and now three daughters. So
Wow.
we sold that same family four different houses. So to
Wow.
your point about, referrals and
Mhm.
people knowing you, trusting you, liking you, they'll
Mhm.
bring you customers forever. So I'm
Right.
sure you're teaching a lot of real estate agents right now that are listening this a
Yeah.
valuable lesson that, hey, you
Mhm.
don't even need to advertise when you get to a certain point in the business, right?
Provided you do, you work hard and you treat everybody like you would simply want to be treated, and to do the very best job. So you don't focus on the commission, you focus on the person becoming a homeowner. And
Yeah.
so once you got your focus correct and you're really working hard and looking at what's best, not what's easy, but what's best, then people will refer, because it's more than just that one sale. Hopefully that one sale will turn into two or three, just like the case with the family you're talking about. You did a great job with the mom, and so then the mom referred her kids. And so that's how you target everybody you work with. Like, this isn't my last time.
That's right. This is not the last time we're going to do business together.
No, no, we're just
That
a beginning. It's the beginning.
that's a brilliant, beautiful thing. Well, do you
Mhm.
have a website you'd like to share, a telephone number you'd like to share?
I'd like to share my phone number. I can do that. And of course, my name is Deborah Edwards. I'm with Realty Association. And my contact cell number is 615-485-1608. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
It has been a thrill having you on board today, Deborah, and you've taught us some very valuable lessons. Sure do appreciate that, and definitely looking forward to working with you in the future.
same here.
Yeah, baby. Awesome.
All right, Lou, you have a great rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Uh-huh.
All right, Deborah, that was beautiful. I enjoyed the heck out of that, and definitely there's folks that I can connect you with there in
Okay.
Nashville that are caps. We call them everybody caps,
Mhm.
and offering the path to home ownership. So, by the
Okay.
way, if you're interested in knowing more, we do have an upcoming event in January. It's called Millionaire Jumpstart, millionairejumpstart.com.
Mhm.
That's one of the ways that we're able to show you in
Mhm.
a broader perspective and much more detailed, where we provide forms, formats, a lot of different things about who we are and what we do. And
Mhm.
we show, especially real estate agents, how you can add on investing
Mhm.
as part of your overall journey,
Mhm.
and end up keeping some of these properties and keeping the cash flow off of them and the
Mhm.
equity and all the other opportunities that come up from time to time.
Well, I would be interested in learning more about that, and maybe I could possibly attend. So,
Excellent.
feel free to send me some information on that.
I will be glad to. And thanks again for your time, and surely looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Lou. Same here.
Take care. All
All right.
right. Mhm. Have a
Bye-bye.
great one. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to the whole enchilada of real estate investing. I hope you're feeling ready to take your investing game to the next level. If you're serious about building wealth, you won't want to miss the Millionaire Jumpstart. It's a 3-day live event that's perfect for any level of investor. Whether you're just getting started or you're looking to scale, this can be one of the final steps of making real wealth happen. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now at millionairejumpstart.com and get ready to make big moves in your real estate journey. I'm Lou Brown. Until next time, keep hustling, and remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how smart you play the game.